listening all day. I missed about a half an hour. Some of it was because of the feed. I didn't want to be a distraction in the courtroom because I knew there were many, many people who wanted to speak. And this is an important part of a process that, if you'll go back to the beginning of the process, we were very, strong that we would do all that we could to bring him to legal justice. I'm really proud of the work of the Attorney General, and I'm really proud of the work of the MSU Police in doing that. Okay. And that puts us at this moment. There'll be other times to talk about MSU's story, but this is about hearing their story. As I said, I did that all day yesterday. I came in today, and I didn't want to be a disruption, but you guys are reinforcing my view that I am a disruption. For a process is for the victims and the survivors, and not about us and Michigan State today. There'll be a time for that to happen, and that's not today. And so, as I said, I didn't want to take space yesterday. I was concerned, using the advice of the folks who I advise, who are my faculty members, who deal with these kinds of issues and research them, that there would be a presence that might distract people from speaking, and this is their moment to have their opportunity to tell their story.
President Simon, when you hear with the stories that they tell, the fact that a lot of this stuff happened at MSU Sports Medicine Clinic, and he was such a well-respected guy on campus, what are you thinking about?
Well, I think it's a challenge of trust. It's a challenge of trust, and how you go below that level of trust and you listen and hear. And in the case of medical procedures, those are ones that, if you're a president, there's a lot of space between you and what happens in a clinic, as all the rules and regulations suggest. And so you trust. And when that trust is broken, it isn't about it. But again, today is about the victims. It's not about us. And there'll be a time for us to talk about, what we've done and what we continue to do. But this is about listening to the victims.
President Simon, respectfully, a number of those victims have talked about MSU.
I know.
And the degree to which the institution enabled Larry Nassar. You're the head of that institution. What do you say to those people who've given powerful testimony that the institution enabled Larry Nassar?
This is their stories in their lived experience with their words. And I'm not going to challenge those words, because it's important for them to say their words today in their own way. This is not the place for that conversation. And I won't be engaged in that here. There'll be another time and place to do that.
How are you feeling when you're hearing all these young women talk about how their lives were broken by this man who worked at Michigan State University for decades?
I've said all along that he's a monster who broke our trust. And as I said all along, I'm really pleased the role that the MSU police had over this last few months in helping the victims find justice. And the Attorney General's done a great job, and I appreciate his work as well.
There are many folks here asking. What stands out in your mind, personally for you, hearing what you've heard today? What are you to take away from this today?
You have to be horrified and extremely sorry that anybody's lives have been affected profoundly by someone that I trusted, a lot of people trusted. So what you're hearing is a story of betrayal and broken trust with enormous ramifications. And that is very, very painful if I were not the president of Michigan State. It is, so to put it in that context, it's not about the role here today. It's about a human being with all the suffering of someone who was extraordinarily trusted and had the potential to do so much good, and apparently in some cases did, but turned it into an horrific activity that did so much harm.
The last woman that we heard from, she said that she was treated by Nassar while he was under investigation. But
folks, there are pieces about this story that are public, and there are pieces that will be told. This is not the day to do that. This is a day for listening to the victims.
There are many folks asking for accountability. Victims, survivors, parents. How do you respond?
I think there are steps being made towards accountability, and there are other steps that will follow. And some of it will have to occur in a setting that is in a rule of law. Others will occur in other forums. And again, this is not the day to have that conversation. This is the day.
Is there any truth that there's money been put aside for counseling for these girls?
Yes.
Have any of the girls been contacted yet?
They were supposed to be, well, let me be,
Okay.
I do not know until listening for the last 2 days the names of the victims,
Okay, well,
okay?
So you're telling me, currently on the Michigan State gymnastics team, or I was when I go public, you had no idea who I was. Kathy Klages was coaching me, and you didn't know.
What we've done with the Victims Fund is have that set up. It's available to those heard in the MSU, through the MSU clinic, through MSU students and others. The information for that fund is being given to people either through their attorneys, if they are represented, or through the activities of the the victim support unit through the police.
who does my daughter contact?
The press release had 2 names, but you can, if you want your daughter to contact me, I'll take care of
Only
it.
because we
Okay.
haven't been given.
No, that's right.
What about for those of us who have already had counseling, but this is now 1.5 years later that you're doing this?
The counseling fund, if you read the material that was released publicly.
I would like to hear from you.
Okay, includes past expenses.
President Simon, what are your plans for the next 2 days?
Well, I'll continue to keep track of this. I've become disruptive enough, and I don't want to do that again.
So are you saying you won't come back?
What do you say to
No, what I'm saying is I'll listen, but I'm not going to be this kind of disruptive, because the focus of attention should be on the people who are telling their story and not on me or Michigan State.
This has been a distraction for over 20 years now, so that means absolutely nothing to us, just so you know.
I appreciate that. And
Sure
there's
you do.
And I hear you, I heard your story, and will continue to hear your story.
Believe it when I see it.
what do you say to Larry Nassar?
I fired him the day I knew about it, so that's all I can say.
You can't say anything more to him today? If you were to able to get up on the stand, what would you say to him?
I would say much the same way the victims have said, that he betrayed an enormous potential and talent that could have been for good, and turned into a monster who did terrible things that will affect the lives of people for a long time, including, as some victims have said, the lives of his colleagues and those around him for a very long time.
President Simon, do you have any response to the fact that there are still people working at MSU despite this new environment being created and wanting people to be held accountable, but especially the Title IX coordinator in 2014 has since been given a raise and a promotion?
Folks, I'm not going to comment about MSU today. There's another time and place to do that, and it's not today. It's not today.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, it's not today.